Alright, what's going on, my beautiful people? This is KMF Lifestyle back again with another video. So I'm going to be cutting up little pieces of this video just to try to make the video as informational as possible and to try to articulate myself in a way that you can process all the information in a good, I guess, short form manner, right? So that everything hits in a good way. It has been a couple months since I've uploaded. I was uploading consistently with the Junkyard podcast, which is my other channel that I do with my co-host, one of my closest friends. We did very, very well for a little while, but then we slowly drifted apart, and I'm totally 100% accountable for that. We just stopped. We didn't necessarily give up, but I guess you could say like that, and I could be held accountable for that. We did try. We just didn't try hard enough, and that's something that I have to we got to take a look at and reflect on it to see if that's something we want to continue doing, or if we just want to put an end to that and focus on something else primarily. But the reason I'm making this video is because as time progresses, and to me, honestly, I just feel like society as a whole is getting worse as we continue, and it's something I'm very passionate about. I don't take it lightly that men are, I feel like there's like a gender war, right, between both genders. I feel like both genders are, I guess, we both want something out of each other that we're just not particularly getting. For example, I feel like men, they want women to act a certain way, and women want men to act a certain way back towards them, and we're just completely just passing by each other. But nonetheless, that's a topic for another day. Today's video is specifically about fitness and how fitness has changed my life, and how it can also impact yours as well if you're willing to make the effort that's needed in order to change, right? And a key component about this video and topic that I really want to hone on is masculinity, right? I feel like masculinity as a whole is not something that's generally promoted in the mainstream media. In fact, I feel like it's demonized, and anybody who does promote masculinity is either toxically masculine, or is a quote-unquote misogynist, or a bunch of other different things, right? Insecure, small d energy, etc., 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 etc. But then women then on the same sentence complain about how men are weak, we're the strong men from back in the day, yada 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 yada. And it's like, listen, we either promote masculinity or we do not, right? Masculinity is not something that you pick and choose. It's something that is a collective. It's good and bad all in one, right? Even though I don't necessarily feel that there are bad things, I do, however, feel that there are bad people, right? Think about it this way. When people say toxically masculine, it's almost the equivalent of calling someone a radical Muslim, right? I have Muslim friends, and I know for a fact that they would never do anything that would be considered evil. For example, being like a terrorist or anything like that, right? Because that's a particular group of people who took the context of the Quran in a bad way and used their own interpretation of what they thought the Quran said, when that's not necessarily what it said, right? It talks about peace, love, etc., etc., because that's how my friends are. They follow the Quran very, very well. They do the Ramadan, do all that stuff, and they're good people. They're great people, right? You don't say, oh, that's toxic Muslim or whatever. No, those are just bad people who did bad things. The same way that they're quote-unquote toxically masculine people. No, they're not toxically masculine. They're probably just bad people who are probably douchebags, etc., etc. There is no such thing as toxically masculine. Just like in the same sentence, there might be, women who do, I guess, quote-unquote toxically feminine things, but nobody calls it that, because that's not what it is. It's female nature and male nature. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's just the nature of the two genders, right? And I feel like, unfortunately, anytime somebody ever tries to speak up on that, people always try to demonize them. They're misogynist, they're sexist, they're bigots, they're homophobe, they're transphobe, whatever it is. Anything that has to do with positivity towards men, it always gets shut down for whatever reason. They just put a label on them and they just get shut down. And we've seen it time and time again. I'm not going to reference any particular people. You can come up with that on your own. But yeah, anyways, guys, so the World Obesity Federation predicts that 1 in 7 men will be obese by 2030. Okay, guys, that statistic alone is very, very alarming. 1 in 7 men. Generally think about that. Out of 7 people that you meet, 1 of them is probably going to be obese. And the numbers are probably just going to continue to increase. That's an alarming statistic. There are more obese people in the world than there are underweight people in the world, right? So what does that mean? In the entire world, there are more obese people than there are underweight people. And the only places that are excluded is Asia and Saharan Africa. That means that even in developing countries, third world countries, for example, Honduras, Nicaragua, which is the countries that I'm from, that's why I named them, there are still more obese people than there are underweight people. That's insane. That's insane. Another thing, obesity affects every aspect of your life. Okay, guys, it is what it is. Listen, it affects your health, it's going to affect your pockets, it's going to affect your lifestyle, and it's going to affect you finding a potential mate. Why? Well, I don't even have to say why. It's common sense, guys, right? If you're obese, you're going to have a lot of problems. You're going to have a higher risk of heart disease, you're going to have a higher risk of type 2 diabetes, and a bunch of other culminating factors. Women are going to find you less attractive. I'm sorry, it is what it is. However, as a man, yes, you can supplement that with other things, charisma, charm, success, the list goes on, right, guys? But let's be quite honest. Women, humans in general, we typically do judge a book by its cover, and if you're obese, it's going to be harder for a woman to actually give you the opportunity to even showcase your personality and all your accolades of success that you have, right, guys? All right, so I want to talk about something else. Also, in the mainstream media, what do we see? Maybe not even the mainstream media. I would just say popular social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, etc. All the basic major ones. What do they talk about? You see an obese person, let's say they're modeling or whatever, and what do they say? Oh, you go queen, love your curves, this and that. Everybody's promoting her. But the fact of the matter is, guys, if you're obese, there's a certain standard, in my opinion, for what beauty is. Sure, there are there are subjective things, but on a general level, we know what beauty is, right? There's a reason that girls go, oh my god, Justin Bieber, like, he's so attractive. It's rare that I find a woman who goes, oh, Justin Bieber, yeah, he's ugly. Sure, they wouldn't date him, but they wouldn't consider him ugly. Why? Because we have an objective way of seeing if someone is handsome or ugly. It is what it is, right? It usually has to do with the symmetry of the face, etc. But the point is this, right? People, the doctors talk about, oh, we need to promote, a healthy lifestyle in the schools. We need to talk about it in social media, this and that. How are we allowed to promote, a healthy lifestyle if all we see is the mainstream media promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, right? If you're giving credit to obese women, oh, love your curves, this and that. They could be in Vogue. They could be Miss America, whatever, this and that. If we never if we don't ever criticize people in a very polite manner and let them know, hey, listen, this lifestyle isn't conducive to a healthy way of living, right? This is not a good, healthy way of living. If you continue this pattern, you will suffer consequences later on, whether it's, like I mentioned before, financially. And when I say financially, what I mean is that the more obese you are more than likely to call out work, because you might have anything like health related issues. You might end up paying more in medical bills, because if you're obese, you're like way more likely to end, let's say you contract COVID-19, you're way more likely to end up in the hospital because of the obesity. And this is not just stuff that I'm putting out of my butt. This is stuff that I've read from the Forbes website that pulls out statistics from the CDC. So this is not stuff that you can search this up yourself. You're like way more likely to end up in the hospital, and if you end up in the hospital, you're gonna end up paying more bills, which you could have avoided had you had just invested in yourself and invested time into the gym and a healthy lifestyle, right, guys? Another thing is, a healthy body and a healthy mind go, hand in hand. They're very symmetrical, I guess that's a good way of putting it. If you don't have a good, healthy mind, eventually it's gonna lead to your body, right? And that's not something that we want. We want, if we promote body positivity, what other better way of promoting body positivity than to live a healthy lifestyle. That is positivity, right? You enjoying, indulging in sugars and processed foods and foods that contain no value to you, that's not a positive thing. That's a negative thing, right? Because those things, what positives are there? There's no positivity from eating things that are bad. Sure, you can have your your donuts and this in moderation, of course, right? Nobody here is saying you can never eat another piece of donut ever again. However, if your negatives outweigh the positives, then that's not conducive to a positive body positivity. That's body negativity, if anything, because you're going to be going down in your health, and that's just not something that I'm proud of in society, right? This is something that should be spoken to about in a high degree. Why? Well, because you have more than 40% of men in the obese range, and women are not that far off. Women are in the 39th percentile between ages, if I'm not mistaken, 18 to I believe it's ages 21 to 39. I believe is the age range of men, being in the 40%, 42%, and women being in in the 39% range. All right, so now we're going to be talking about what impact working out has on you as an individual, right? So working out, what does it teach us? Well, it teaches you that things are possible with this right here, right? Think about it. You can literally grab a 400-pound man and mold him into a man who has a six-pack, chiseled, ribbed, strong. All from here. It all starts right here in the power of the mind, right? You can literally grab an obese man and turning him into a super ripped, jacked man, right? And what does this teach you? It teaches you that with enough consistency, discipline, willpower, and focus, you can do anything in this world, man. You can do anything. Your body literally has the capability of reconstructing itself to become whatever it is that you imagine up here, right? It teaches you also, patience and consistency, right? And that's with everything. In business, YouTube, relationships, everything in life requires patience and what? Consistency, right? Because without patience and without consistency, there's no growth. There's no growth. You're always going to want to cut corners, and that's not how life works. And that's what working out has taught me. You cannot cut corners to get a six-pack, okay? You can get a tummy tuck, sure. But if you have a bad lifestyle, you're going to get fat again, all right? All right, guys, last but not least, I want to finish off with this. If we want a society of strong men, what do we need for a society with strong men? Strong men, right? And the only way to do that is to promote a healthy lifestyle, guys. We cannot continue with all this, oh, let me drink my soy latte. Oh, I don't feel like going to the gym today. Oh, I don't feel like cooking my food. I don't feel like eating my steak. I don't feel like, seasoning my chicken. Oh, that takes too long, man. It's easier. I think it's easier if I just get a double Mc processed burger with extra large diabetes sugar, soda. Come on, guys. We want to be the best. We want to be the #1 nation in the world. How do we get there? Are we gonna get there by eating our sadness away? Is that how we're gonna do it? No. It takes discipline, and that's what's needed back in this society. All right, guys. The only reason we have it so easy is because the previous men before us were men who were capable of discipline. They created the world you see today. Everything about it. The cars you drive, the planes, the trains, were all created by men who decided, who chose a life of discipline, hard work, overcoming adversity, over indulging in pleasures, and just overloading on dopamine, guys. So you need to choose what type of person you want to be in this life. You want to be the sad, pathetic, obese, dying early due to a heart attack type of person, or do you want to be the type of person who's looked up to by their children, leaves a legacy, is actually living for God, right? Because if you believe in God, you shouldn't be obese, because what does the Bible say? Your body is your temple, and you shouldn't destroy your temple, right? Think about that. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. This is probably my most raw video that I've created. I want to continue. This is something that I'm very passionate about. I don't want to see I don't like seeing, you know, men depressed, and I don't like seeing men who are obese. And I can speak on it because I was obese, and it's not a fun life, guys. It's not. As much as we cope and we say, oh, I don't care, you know, I'm happy with my, you know what sucks? When you're on a roller coaster and you can't get on because you're too fat. Think about that. That's the worst feeling ever. You're trying on a shirt, you get your gut all the way over here, can't even see your pecker. What type of life is that, man? Like, it's sad. Embrace masculinity and destroy modernity. Reject modernity, bro. This modern life, this life that we're living now, nobody's happy, man. Come on, let's make a difference. Peace out.